Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily with Ray Flowers, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to use the promo code FSD20 for a 20% discount on the products over at fantasyguru.com. Hey there, everyone. Ray Flowers of fantasyguru.com here today. Hope you're doing well wherever you might be listening to this, either if you're on YouTube watching us live at youtube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork, whether you're listening over at fantasyguru.com by going to the Fantasy Guru tab, or the Elite Plus tab, at the top of the page, and clicking on that, or whether you're listening to us on your favorite YouTube service, whether that's Pandora or Spotify, wherever it might be. Thanks for listening. Tell a friend, all that good stuff today. Let's do some rocking and rolling here on Fantasy Sports Daily. Again, I'm Ray Flowers of fantasyguru.com. You can find my work over at fantasyguru.com, of course. You can find me on the interwebs as well at the Ray Flowers, Twitter X. You can find me on Threads, though I don't really do anything on there. I do have an account. I think I have a TikTok account at the Ray Flowers. I don't ever do anything on it. It's basically Twitter X and Instagram. But I'm at the other places as well if you really want to get involved there. I hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a good time watching, listening, following the NFL draft. We touched a little bit on this yesterday, but we have so much coverage over at fantasyguru.com. We've had live streams over there, articles over there. Jeff Mann's talking about it on his Elite Sports Show. We'll be doing that today, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. A heavy emphasis on the draft, obviously, today. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it today. In fact, I didn't plan to spend any time on it today. If you have a question, you can ask me here, and I'll get to them at the end of the show. If that something comes up, we'll do that. But otherwise, we're basically doing baseball today on the show. And here's what we're doing. Here's the plan for the day. Kind of what we've settled into here is kind of the rhythm of the show for the baseball part of the season here. Got some performance news, some injury news, and it's Monday, so we're going to review some FAAB results. Again, these are not always helpful per se, because obviously you've already run your FAAB last night if that's how your league runs. But it's a good way to talk about some players and kind of the thoughts of the experts, if you will, of the people that do this professionally, their thoughts on players. So we'll go through that today. Before we get to the FAAB review, we're going to talk performance. Erik, Fedde, Bryce, Elder, Ben Lively, Hayden, Wesneski. Some guys, Bailey Falter. Why are these guys people of note? Well, we'll talk about them. Joey Loperfido of the Astros has been called up. He's someone that obviously everyone's got questions about, so we'll kind of give a profile on him. Jonatan Clase of the Mariners, got some sad news with him. Eloy, Jimenez, Mike McCarthy, otherwise known as Jake McCarthy, because Mike McCarthy is a football coach. Jake McCarthy, Mike Tauchman. On the injury side of things, updates on Christian Yelich, Josh Lowe, Justin Steele, Kyle Bradish. Good news there. Zach Gallen, Nick Pivetta, Craig Kimbrel, Paul Sewald, Jordan Wicks, Matt Brash, and Brayan Bello. Some good, some bad. And then we'll get to the FAAB portion of things as well. As you can see there on the screen, FSD20 is the promo code that you want to use. It's the one that'll bring you the most joy because it gets you a discount over at fantasyguru.com. You can also try, I don't know if this is still active, but let's give it a shot. The All-In VIP Platinum package. Use the promo code 50 special, 50 special for the Platinum package. I think it's still active. We'll see. I'm sure if you said, hey, guys, I saw it on Ray's show in the morning, give me the all-in package, 50% off with that promo code 50 special. I'm pretty sure they give it to you. It's the VIP Platinum package. Covers everything we do. Videos, podcasts, live streams, articles, Discord, rankings, basketball, football, baseball, hockey, racing, golf, whatever we do, MMA. You get it all in that VIP Platinum package for the 50 special promo code for 50% off over at fantasyguru.com. Check it out. We'd love to have you become part of the team there. And even if that's not your bag, baby, here, maybe you'll have an interest in subscribing to one of the other products we have at the website, such as the baseball package that we've talked about a lot. You buy the baseball package for wagering or the baseball package for DFS. You buy it right now, and what do you get? You get NHL, NBA, PGA, MMM, soccer racing for free. So basically everything else besides football you get for free. And we just toss it in there. So sign up for the wagering or the DFS baseball package. Get involved there, whether your team is doing great in the seasonal aspect of things or it isn't. Let's go. And Sal said, nice Austin Powers impersonation. It was actually moderately poor, but I appreciate it, Sal. Yeah, baby, yeah. I don't have the right voice this morning. I don't know. I usually am better at it than that. I tried twice, and I failed both times, so I'm going to move on because that was not very good. Sorry. Okay, let's get down to it. Let's do some talking here on the show. And let's start out by discussing some of the performances on the hill that popped again. Erik Fedde, he's someone that we'll talk about when we do the FAAB review here. Starting to get really interesting here. Now, again, we talked about him last time he made a start. He's on the White Sox, and they suck. And he's not going to get a lot of victories, you'd have to think, even if he pitches well. So that's something to consider. Same time, 2 runs over 8 1/3 innings against the Rays. He's got a 2.6 ERA at this point. He's got 20 strikeouts the last 2 games. He's really pitching well. And, there's always the concern about what happened in the league adjust because he went to the KBO and he made changes to his game. The league might be a little slow to adjust to those changes that he's made. But he's rocking and rolling right now, and it's impressive. And so, he's on the waivers, and he very well could be because he's on the waiver wire in some of the quote-unquote expert leagues until last night. Take that shot, but understand that he is pitching over his head. He's not going to have a 2.6 ERA. He shouldn't be expected to be, punching out 11, 12 guys per 9 innings. There is that concern about the win total. And if you're in a regular traditional fantasy league, the wins matter, whether it's a 10 points for a points league or you're in a 5x5 that uses wins. So I think that at this point, I'm very comfortable saying that Fedde is performing better than I anticipated. I think better than most people anticipated. It's a great start to the season. 30 starts is a lot different than 6, 7 starts, whatever he's made, I forget. But there's certainly more positives than negatives here, certainly. And with the injury woes across the land, if he's on the waiver wire, I'm not going to look askance of you for adding him. Just not. He's pitching very well right now. And frankly, with the way the game is evolving, unfortunately, in a negative direction with pitching in particular, when guys are in nice grooves, we need to react. And that means we have to start playing the game, I think, a little bit more like DFS, which sucks. I think it's anathema to what we're really trying to accomplish. But I think that's just kind of what we need to do. So keep that in mind when you're going to the waiver wire. You'll hear me say negative things most of the time. Okay, that's because I'm being honest. Like this guy's, he's going to strike out 7.5 guys per 9 innings, or his ground ball to fly ball ratio is 0.9. He's going to have home run issues. If he's pitching well, he's pitching well, and sometimes we need that at this point. So keep that in mind. By the way, I didn't mention this at the top. I am getting to work on the updated rankings over at fantasyguru.com. We won't be discussing the rankings here on the show because obviously that's what we want you to subscribe for, right? Hopefully this is enough of a teaser, me doing this show Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock Eastern time in the morning, 5 days a week here on Fantasy Sports Daily. Hopefully me doing this for free every single day will entice you to getting the seasonal package, which you can still get over at fantasyguru.com. And part of that includes access to Discord to get all of your questions answered. It also includes the updated rankings the first of every month. It includes all the articles and everything else as well. But on May 1st, the rankings will be updated. And the whole rankings will be updated. I tear it down to the foundation and I build it right back up. I'm not moving a guy 2 spots and this guy 3 spots and saying, hey, it's done. I'm not having a computer do it. I'm actually doing it by hand, as I always do. So that'll be out in a couple of days. I'll look for it. It'll probably be up in the afternoon. So don't hit me up in the morning because the way my schedule is, I'm extremely busy nowadays, especially spending extra time doing this show. So it'll be up in the afternoon, but it'll be up on the 1st of May. So look for it then. Okay. Bryce Elder, of the Braves, is someone who's alternated good efforts and bad efforts this season. Oh, I guess in his career too. We talked about him when he was called up. He's a guy that really, his worst pitch is basically his fastball, which is, you can pitch backwards and all that, but it's not a great place to be. He pitched well in the first half last year, really struggled last year. Couldn't convince the Braves to promote him this year. Went out in that first effort against the Marlins, looked great. Effort 2 against the Guardians, woof. He only gave up 2 runs in 5 1/3 innings, which let's give him credit for that because he did not have it on this day. He walked 4 guys. He did not have it, but he battled. And that's what Elder's going to have to do. He's going to have to battle. He's not sexy. He's not exciting. In opposition to Fedde, he's going to get a lot of run support. He pitches for the Braves. And we saw that last year. He won 12 games. He went 12-4, even though he didn't pitch great, especially in the second half. I'm not an Elder guy. I don't think you should be an Elder guy. But if you are searching and he's on the waiver wire, okay. But keep those expectations in check and understand that, his whip, even last year, was 1.28. He's a 1.3 whip guy, which is a league average number. And he's not a league average strikeout guy. So he's really more of a streamer. But, we got to do what we got to do at times. Ben Lively is very interesting. Ben Lively allowed 1 run and 4 hits against the Braves. And that catches your attention. He's pitched well this season, has Lively. And though he, didn't get 5 innings against the Braves, didn't get the victory. When you pitch against the Braves on any day and you go 4 1/3 innings, give up a run, that's effective. And, he had a 31% whiff rate, a 27% CSW in the effort. The numbers work. He's got a 2.30 ERA. He doesn't do anything super sexy or exciting. You'll see in the FAAB article that I will discuss here, or the FAAB portion of the show today, that, people are getting in, though my leagues are 14, 15 teamers. I still think Lively is a streaming option. He does face the Angels this week, so that's not a bad matchup. So Lively can be a short-term addition here. Understand that there's still that blow-up potential, the lack of strikeouts, the lack of sexiness, excitement, but he's in a decent groove and he's got a decent matchup. So Lively is also in play like these other guys we've been discussing. I mentioned Hayden Wesneski last week when the issue occurred health-wise with Kyle Hendricks, and maybe they'll put Wesneski in the rotation. Then we get Jordan Wicks, who's now injured. He's on the list here later. He's gone to the injured list, and I forget what is his issue. Retroactive with the forearm strain. So 2 weeks, 2 months, a year, we don't know with Jordan Wicks. Bottom line is Wesneski now, potentially at least, has a chance to grab a spot in the starting rotation for the Cubs. And as I mentioned later last week, Wesneski is someone that I've always liked. I talked about him last year in the Breakout Pitcher of the Year article. He was one of the names mentioned. He's been a starter. He's been a reliever. He's probably going to get a chance to start now out of need, but he pitched against the Red Sox on Sunday, allowed 2 runs, only one of them earned over 4 innings. He threw 63 pitches. That's, that means he could get 75 next time out if they want him to. And it looks like, for short term at least, he's in this rotation. Now, if Jordan Wicks is down long term with the arm issue, if Kyle Hendricks can't come back, if Jameson Taillon gets hurt again, you know how these things go. Maybe Wesneski makes 23 starts this year, right? So definitely, as I said last week, and same thing this week with even more of a star, put him on that watch list. If you're in a head-to-head league and you want to roll through him in the next matchup, okay. In a roto league, it's tough to know because we're still not certain how many starts he's going to make, but he is a nice, skilled arm. And he is someone that's going to get an opportunity to start. Bailey Falter is someone we talked about here previously. Ray, why are we talking about him again? You said he wasn't very good. You said he was pitching over his head. Yeah, I did say that. Ray, why are we going to see that you added him in FAAB this week in multiple leagues? Ray, you're a two-faced liar. No, I'm not a two-faced liar. I'm playing the schedule. And this is something everyone's going to increasingly have to do. If it holds this week, and we know how these things don't, there's rainouts, there's changes in the lineups and rotations, and okay. Bailey Falter has about the best matchup you could think of in the history of the universe this week. According to the current schedule, and let's see if it's changed this morning, and I hope it didn't, because again, I added him in multiple leagues. And by the way, you've probably seen it, the weekly planner is up at fantasyguru.com. It goes up on Sundays to help people kind of see what's going on. Currently, Bailey Falter is set to face the Oakland Athletics today in Oakland. It's a great place to pitch, and it's a terrible lineup. And then later in the week, he's facing the Rockies in Pittsburgh. Now, maybe if he had the White Sox, it'd be a better matchup, right? But facing the Athletics in Oakland, the Rockies in Pittsburgh, those are two great matchups. Great matchups. So Bailey Falter is someone on the short term this week. He's a 2-start pitcher, and they're spectacular matchups. I took the shot myself. Hopefully, any leagues that you're in, you're able to make the move, and it works out for you too. Now, maybe it blows up in our face, and that's the issue we all run into, right? Maybe this blows up in your face. Maybe it doesn't work at all. Right? I mean, that's where we're at with these guys. But at the same time, we got to understand that we got to do what we got to do. We got to find innings. I've lost tons of pitchers. I'm sure you've lost tons of pitchers. Jesus Luzardo went down to one of the leagues where I added Falter. It's like, look, I lost Luzardo. I'm in a 14-team mixed league. There ain't nobody on the waiver wire. Like I'm going to take the guy that, whether I love his skills or not, he's got 2 great matchups this week. So Bailey Falter, if he's on the waiver wire still, if you're looking at making a move this morning for the week, there we go. We'll see if the matchups hold, but there we go. Okay, this is what everyone kind of, I think, tuned in for today. Joey Loperfido of the Astros has been promoted or will be promoted officially today. Who is this kid? We got a lot of things going on. Let's start out with the first point, that John Singleton and Jose Abreu have combined to give the Astros the absolutely worst offensive production in baseball from the first base position. In fact, the only team in baseball that doesn't have a home run at first base. Now, the problem here is that Abreu's in the second year of a 3-year, $58.5 million contract. So he's still owed $40 million. Yeah, $35 million. I don't know how the contract's actually broken down. I'm guessing. But he's owed $40 million. They're going to bench him? It looks like we're getting to that point where they're going to just try something different because the whole team isn't working. The team is struggling. The offense isn't gelling like they anticipated. The record's not there. They need to shake things up. Do they release Singleton? Do they release Abreu? Like, again, I can't see you can't release Abreu because everyone respects him because you're paying him $40 million. You can't just give up on him. Maybe it's Singleton that's released. Maybe they make some other move, but Loperfido, as of right now, isn't on the 40-man roster. In order to be put on the 26-man big league roster, you have to be put on the 40-man roster. So someone will have to be removed from the 40-man roster. When you remove someone from the 40-man roster, that opens them up to anyone in the league getting a shot to take them. And, you could then work out a trade if that player's grabbed or some deal can be, constructed with the two organizations. If no one picks up the player, then the Astros could then send that player to the minors. That's an option, right? If someone were to grab, and I'm not positive on this, I should have checked this before the show, but this is how my memory works at 8:20 in the morning. Pretty sure that if they released Abreu, that the Astros would then be on the hook for the money. And so the new team that added him would just be paying the major league minimum. So this is a scenario where the Astros are obviously going to make a move because Loperfido's coming up. Someone's going to have to be released and exposed to the waiver process. In terms of Loperfido himself, he's not a first baseman, but he is a versatile player that has played multiple positions this year in the minors, including at first base. And I mentioned this, I think it was last week on the show at some point. I was listening to Jim Bowden, the former GM, talking on Sirius XM, and he said he had a conversation. I think it was with the GM. I think it was the GM of the Astros. I'm not sure. Someone in the front office. And Jim directly asked, is Loperfido playing first base now because of Abreu? And the answer was kind of a wink, wink, yeah. So, I mean, it's very, very plausible to connect the dots here and to say that Loperfido is going to get a significant chance at playing time at the first base position for the Astros. So whether Abreu or Singleton is released or what move they make, they're not fantasy options at the moment. Loperfido is the one we need to talk about. Loperfido is extremely exciting because he's down in the minors and he's destroying the baseball. He's got 13 home runs. His OPS is 12,000. He's killing it. And he's got power. Like, that's a significant carrying trait. He doesn't just have power, by the way. He stole 27 bases last year, did Loperfido. Okay. So he is someone that obviously last year went 20-20. And I think it's reasonable to suggest that he has the ability to go 20-20 at the big league level. Again, I'm not saying it's happening this year. I'm saying he does have the ability to do that. Now he's 6'3", 220. He's already 24 years old. He's not a young guy per se, but he's fully developed physically, and he's got this power. Now, an issue for him is that last year at AAA and this year at AAA, if you combine the two, we're about 60 games played. He's got a strikeout rate of 31%. That's not good. We talk about strikeouts all the time. Teams will live with that, and you can have success at the big league level. You can be a 240 hitter with 30 home runs doing this, okay? But you're not hitting 275. You're not hitting 287 like he's hitting right now with a 30+% strikeout rate. You're just not doing that. And what does a 30% strikeout rate at AAA equate to in the big leagues? Almost always goes up, right? It's rare that number goes down at the big league level. So that's something to keep in mind. He does walk, double-digit walk walk rates at 5 of his last 6 spots in the minors. So we're pretty comfortable saying that, his batting average is going to be whatever. I mean, even if his batting average is 250, his on-base percentage is going to be 320. Like, he's got the ability to still be league average there because he does take a walk. He's got significant power. The problem for him is, and I hate to draw this comparison because it's not fair to him, but stylistically, there's a lot of similarities here. He's Vladimir Guerrero. Well, Ray, Vlad hit 48 home runs. Yeah, he did hit 48 home runs one year. And what do I say every time I talk about Vlad? Doesn't get the ball in the air. Look at Loperfido's ground ball rates. At every stop at the minor league level, 48, 48, 42, 58, 45, 52, and this year 46%. He doesn't lift the baseball. So you look at his work at AAA, he's got a 50% ground ball rate at AAA in about 60 games over 2 years. Now, he has worked on changing his swing a little bit, but again, there's swing and miss, and there's ground balls. His 50% ground ball rate doesn't work. if you're trying to be a home run hitter. It doesn't work. It makes it extremely difficult because every ball you get in the air, I'm exaggerating, but every ball you get in the air, you have to hit into the seats. So what do we do with Loperfido? Well, he's going to be at it everywhere. There's a chance that the power stroke continues. I mean, I can't deny that. He hits the ball hard and he does have power. It grades out very well in the power column. But there are concerns about the playing time, at least a little bit. There's concerns about the strikeout, of course, which impacts the batting average. And then there's a concern about his inability to consistently lift the baseball. So there it is, right? And if that means he hits 14 home runs and steals 14 bases, no one's going to be upset. You shouldn't be. Maybe you would be. You shouldn't be. But I would be remiss if I didn't point out the concerns, and those are the concerns. So Loperfido will almost certainly be eligible in your league as an outfielder. It then depends on how many games played are necessary to pick up a new position in your league, whether it's 5, 10, 20, whatever it might be, 15. Some leagues it's 1. But he's not going to qualify at first base, I don't think, in any setup. So you have to factor that in too. If you add him and he's only outfield eligible, does that fit with your team? I think that in Loperfido's case, we're on that fine line of I hate to see those strikeouts. I like to see the approach, but I hate to see the strikeouts. I'm not positive the power that we have seen to date, which includes a 700 slugging percentage and a 400 isolated power mark. I'm not sure that carries over at all to the big league level. So I'm in that zone of I'm expecting a league average kind of bat and hoping he steals 15 bases to make up for it. That's kind of where my expectations are right now with the youngster-ish Joey Loperfido. The Mariners are expected to option Jonatan Clase. I never picked it up. I'm sorry. It's too early in the morning for me to think. As we talked about when he was promoted, spoiler alert, this could happen to Loperfido. When everyone got excited about the Mariners outfielder, and I wrote about him over at fantasyguru.com, we talked about him around the show. I said, look, where's he going to play? How's this going to go? Et cetera, et cetera. He stole a couple of bases, but he didn't hit a home run. He hit 220, had a 259 slugging percentage, had 9 strikeouts and 1 walk, and not playing every day anyway, so they're going to send him down and give him the opportunity to do that, but he's gone. As they say, another one bites the dust, and this is the game with rookies, and we talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, and here we are. And a guy that's not even close to being a rookie, Mike Tauchman of the Cubs, who's very boring and who gives a damn. Well, maybe we should give a little bit of a damn. I actually put a bid in him in one of my leagues. It was like $1.02 bid. I forget what it was. Really low because I didn't really have a super need, but he went 2 for 4 last night. He's at batting 290. He's got a 400 plus on base percentage, a 500 slugging percentage. You know, things can get tight when they get healthy, when Suzuki is back, with Pete Armstrong there. But Tauchman is a guy that even if his batting average isn't good, he also can take a walk. His on-base percentage isn't going to hurt you. There's platoon situation here with Tauchman, but just pointing him out for those of you looking for a little boost, those of you in head-to-head leagues when you're streaming through players, Tauchman in the right scenario can be very effective. And we've seen that this year, almost with a 300, 400, 500 slash line, which, you know, you go to the Hall of Fame if you do. That's how effective he's been to date. Not that guy on any of the 3 categories, but certainly league average in at least 2 of them. And I think the on-base percentage can be a little bit better than that. So, yeah, he's in a nice little groove right now. Let's talk about some of the injured players before we move on to FAAB. Got an update on Christian Yelich, and this is from manager Pat Murphy of the Brewers. Here's the quote. I think within a week we'll be in a better spot, unquote. He's kind of stalled out, according to the reports. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is last year, the back popped a little bit for Yelich, but most of the time he was healthy and he had a great season. This year, the back injury popped, and it's been a little more substantial than they anticipated. Again, I talk about my back issue all the time. I've been dying. I mentioned this last week. I've been dying the last week because I sat at the table for too long doing a Lego. I was putting together my Atari 2600 Lego. I sat at the table too long, hurt my back. My back's been barking for a week from doing Legos. Christian Yelich playing baseball. So their hope is that he'll be back some point early-ish May. We don't have a firm date. Again, we'll hopefully know within a week or so kind of where we're at. But he's been out since April 16th, and it's possible he misses up to 4 weeks with this thing. So it's going a little bit longer than we anticipated. Josh Lowe was getting close to returning. In fact, he came out and said, look, I'm basically ready to go whenever the team needs me. He's coming back feeling great. Everything was good with his oblique. Then he tweaked his hamstring. And, you know, this happens to players sometimes and it's really disappointing. And I hope it's not a scenario with Josh Lowe where it just doesn't work this year. Last year, he took all those steps. He made better contact. He went 20-20, finally lived up to expectations. Played, I think, 2 or 3 games in spring training this year because of injury. here we are, April's going to be gone. He basically didn't play in March. He's not going to be seen in the big leagues in April. And who knows now how long this right hamstring issue is going to set him back. So, he's getting an MRI today, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that it's not, hey, he's going to be out on the 4 to 6 weeks kind of thing. But if you thought you were about ready to get Josh Lowe back potentially this week, this is a crushing blow, because now we're up in limbo land again. And, again, with the situation with his hamstring, I think it's, clearly he's not returning in April, which sucks. Just sucks. Justin Steele, in a bit of positive notes, coming back from a hamstring issue of his own. He says he's going to make a minor league rehab start this week. And the hope is that, early next May, and this goes back to, when he goes out there for his rehab outing, does he look sharp? Does he throw 71 pitches? Is it 53 pitches? Are they willing to bring him back if he can only throw 65 pitches? Do they want to build him up to he's at least at 75 pitches? Like, how are they going to handle this? So it's very reasonable to think one outing in the minor leagues and they could promote him. It's also reasonable to think it might be 2 or 3. So when I say early May, it might be closer to mid-May if they add that second start for Justin Steele. But the good news is he's moving in the right direction, and it seems like we're a couple of weeks away. I think that's fair at this point, and barring a setback, which, again, we just talked about Josh Lowe. I think that's fair at this point. More good news, Kyle Bradish is going to make his next start in the major leagues. Now, he had the elbow issue. We talked a lot about him in spring. The UCL issue, all of us, like, what does this mean? What do we do? You have a UCL sprain. A UCL sprain in technical terms or non-technical terms is a tear, just a light tear. When your UCL is involved, we talked about it. Is Bradish going to pitch this year? Is he going to miss 3 months? Is this going to be where just going to be on the spectrum? We just don't know. Well, if he's indeed making his next start in the majors, then he was on the short end of the expectation, which is great. He's pitched well in the minors. He's looked good. The velocity's been a little down, and nothing, it's not like he's 4 miles an hour off, so it's nothing to be concerned about. But his velocity is down a little bit, but he was letting it go. All the reports have been positive. And the expectation right now, again, is that Bradish makes that next start for the Orioles. Does this remove the concern that I had 2 months ago with him or a month and a half ago with him? No, it's still got to be there, right? Because this is a known situation he's coming back from, and it's coming back in season. And as we've talked about so many times, these guys don't come back and give it 85%. They're coming back and balls to the wall, right? But good news, again, he's checked all the boxes along the way. The Orioles are comfortable with him. He's had 6 strikeouts in 5 innings in his final start down at AAA last week on Friday there. So good to go. And Kyle Bradish, if he's on the waiver wire, take the plunge. We don't know. But he was really good last season. He was really good in the second half. And it certainly seemed like he figured things out. So if his arm holds up, and I guess we say that about everyone at this point, right? Yeah. Torey Lovullo, the manager of Diamondbacks, was talking late in last week. We didn't get a chance to talk about this, so I wanted to bring up the situation with Zach Gallen. He was removed in the 6th inning after having some hamstring tightness. It looked really bad at the time. People were very nervous, and then it becomes, okay, it's a cramp or something. It's nothing major. Tightness. There's hope that he can make his next start. Now, we know how this goes. There's hope he makes it. They put him out there. He blows through the 1st inning, 2nd inning, he throws a pitch and he tweaks it again. But the good news is that we are in a zone with Gallen where it's very conceivable he does make that next start. Now, it's against the Dodgers on Wednesday, so it's not an easy one to come back and see where we're at. But I think at this point in time, at least, we have to give Zach Gallen the benefit of the doubt that he'll be able to make the start. They could announce later today that he's not making the start. It could be tomorrow. It could be Wednesday morning. They could still just say, well, we're going to skip a start this week. So if you have Zach Gallen, you could consider benching him this week because of the concern of whether he's going to pitch, because of the concern of how many innings would he pitch if he was out there, and because it's the Dodgers. There's a lot going on here. At this point in time, I'm expecting him to go. But I say that all the time, and then things change. We know how this goes. Nick Pivetta now. Let's talk about him and his elbow. Remember when Pivetta got hurt? Pivetta said it'd be 15 days. The GM of the team, Craig Breeslow, he said, I think it could be 15 days. We're already at 20 days. So that 15 days is no big deal, already out the window. He threw batting practice on Saturday to Pivetta. I guess that went well. He's going to make a minor league rehab start this week, and the hope is that next week he's back. All things considered, because we heard the forum, and this is when everyone's forums were going down with injury. All things considered, if he's back mid next week or even later next week, that's a win for the Red Sox. It's a win for Pivetta, and it's a win for your fantasy squad. At the same time, Pivetta and Breezelo both said 15 days, and that'll be 30. So, but again, given an elbow and the concern, I think, to me, missing a month, that's reasonable. Let's hope that the outing later in the week for Pivetta goes well, and he is indeed back with the Red Sox next week because they desperately need him with all the injuries they're dealing with. Craig Kimbrel had a second blown save in a row on Sunday. He exited the outing with tightness in his upper back. At this point, he hasn't been placed on the injured list. They said he's okay. That's what they're going with at this point. I don't know. Again, let me look and see if any news has popped since we started the show a half hour ago. There's always a chance that they make a move because John Means is getting close. He allowed one hit over 7 scoreless over the weekend. Maybe he, I don't know. Nothing new right now on Kimbrel. The safe move is to get Yennier Cano if he's on the waiver wire. And I know there are leagues where he's on the waiver wire because someone asked me in Discord today. Should I add Yennier Cano? The answer is yes, you should. Because Kimbrel, though he seems to be okay and to have avoided the injured list, he has blown 2 straight saves, and we know how this goes with Kimbrel. Kimbrel could save 28 games this year for the Orioles. Have a really strong season, and there could be a 2-week period of time, maybe we're in it right now, where he can't get anybody out. And he loses the closer role for 2 weeks, then he gains it. It's a Craig Kimbrel experience. Cano hasn't pitched great, but he's clearly the pivot too. If Kimbrel is indeed unavailable, I think it's safe to say you can add Cano and pitch him this week, even if Kimbrel's okay. Seeing Cano work a 9th inning here or there makes a lot of sense. Give Kimbrel a couple of days off. Maybe bring him in an 8th inning, see how he's doing the first time after the back issues. So I think Cano is at least a short-term addition, and he could end up being a longer-term addition if something is indeed wrong with the back of Kimbrel, or he does completely lose the strike zone as he has in the past. Another closer, Paul Sewald of the Diamondbacks, was doing great. Then he had the setback because he had some soreness, so they slowed him back down. He's set to throw a next bullpen on Wednesday. So again, he was getting close to a return. They had to slow him down because he had tightness in his oblique, which they don't want to see because, again, this is the issue with the oblique. If there's anything going on there, it becomes something quickly if you don't take care of it. And the quickly becomes 4 to 6 weeks if you really tweak it, right? So they just can't afford to do that. So they backed him off. He's probably going to need 2 outings in the minors. I think that's fair. Maybe it's 1 because he's a reliever. Maybe they bring him back and then they pitch him in the 7th inning, his first time in the big, something like that. But I think let's say 2 outings. Again, he's been out for a while. He's had a setback. He's until that bullpen Wednesday. So a best case scenario, he's back in the big leagues next week. Throws a bullpen Wednesday, goes down to the farm, pitches on Friday, Saturday. They activate him Monday next week. Possible. But for now, we have to wait and see if that's the way it's actually going to play out. I mentioned earlier that Jordan Wicks of the Cubs have been placed on the 15-day injured list with a forearm strain. Wesneski is the guy right now that we should be talking about. Matt Brash, who has tremendous stuff, who has a very bright future, who had an elbow issue that when it happened, I forget which beat reporter it was, so I'm not going to name him. I think I know who it was, but I'm not going to name him because I might be wrong. Basically said that this is could be potentially catastrophic news for Matt Brash. Turned out it wasn't catastrophic news. He was thrown again in a couple of weeks. But he had another setback with his elbow, and he's been shut down. He's visiting Dr. Keith Meister. This is the second setback that Brash has had. This is making me very nervous. I don't know if Matt Brash pitches this season. Hopefully I'm wrong here. But how many setbacks can you have before something significant has to happen? And we know almost always that something significant is surgery. Let's hope I'm wrong. Let's hope I'm reading the situation incorrectly. But for us in the fantasy space, the bottom line is Matt Brash had a setback. Gregory Santos was placed on the 60-day injured list. So everything I was saying to you about Ryan Stanek and, hey, he's going to lose his role here in a couple of days, a couple of weeks, it'll be not happening because I think we have to look at Santos. I think he's out all of May, and now we don't even know when Matt Brash is coming back. So Ryan Stanek's going to continue to be somebody. So there it is, Ryan Stanek. Who knew? Brayan Bello in some good news before we move on to the waivers. Some good news with Brayan Bello. He's got that lat issue. Alex Cora, the manager of the Red Sox, said that sooner rather than later, I hate that, but sooner rather than later, he'll be back. This is really good news. It's possible that we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks for a return for Bello from the time of the injury, which would be excellent news. Now, again, it's a lat issue. Did they catch this early enough that 2 or 3 weeks is good? Is there going to be the Paul Sewald setback? But right now, good news with Brayan Bello. And again, the Red Sox desperately need him. We need him. He's pitching very well. Injury kind of came out of nowhere. And it's unclear at this point in time whether if Bello is able to come back in 2 or 3 weeks, like if that's the complete time frame he misses, would the Red Sox say, well, your start's just going to be at the big leagues. We're just going to throw you 68 pitches this game. Or would they say you got to go down to the minors? We don't know that. And that, again, would extend, if they think he's ready in day 18, they send him down to the minors. Well, now we're seeing him miss 23, 4 days, right? So we'll continue to monitor this situation closely because he's an important guy. But right now, the news is good with Brayan Bello. Let's hope it stays that way. Okay, let's talk some FAAB. There it is on the screen. We're going to talk, first of all, with Tout Wars. Tout Wars, again, is a different setup. It's a 12-team league, the only 12 I'm in. It's got on-base percentage instead of batting average. It has innings pitched instead of wins, because, again, as we talked about wins, whatever. And then it's got solds replacing saves. So a very different setup. The biggest change being, obviously, the way the bullpen is handled. If you look at some of the moves that were made, and this is a league that has $1,000. So a $12 bid on Javi Baez is, I'm picking this guy to be the last guy on my bench. Baez, by the way, is dealing with some health something right now, or some situation right now. I don't think we saw anything this morning to clarify why he didn't play yesterday. Mike Tauchman went for 42 out of the 1,000. We just talked about him. Joe Adell is very interesting. You'll see Joe Adell come up all over the place here, and he's come up in discussions with everyone too in Discord. Joe Adell is a tremendously talented player who was a top 10 pick in the draft back in 2017. He's only 25. He's barely 25 years old. Like, he turned 25 in this month. Okay, so he's still young, and you'll see it. Like, right now, he's blazing away. He's got his OPS up to 974 right now. And most exciting for a guy that's had a career of strikeouts, he's got a 34% strikeout rate for his career. Number's 24% right now. If he keeps his strikeout rate at 24%, he's going to have success. The Angels are starting to use him more. Now, I jokingly said this to somebody the other day. Joe Adell can't get out of his own way, whether he's throwing the ball to the wrong base, making bad reads on fly balls, stealing bases but not sliding and getting called out. Like, he's just, I don't know what mentally, I don't know where he's at. Physically, I know where he's at, and he's a damn talented baseball player, and he's in the groove right now. So we can dream, right? We can dream that the Angels finally just say play every day. We can dream that he's had success. Note that he's run 9 times this year, but he's got 5 steals and 4 caught stealings, which is abysmal. The league average is like 80%. He's barely at 50. And again, one of those because he ran past second base and didn't bother to stay on the base. I don't even like that. He did a thing that the 7-year-old does in minor B. But right now, there's all the signs pointing in the positive direction with Adell. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is finally the breakout in his 5th year. But again, he's 25. I would really like to see him traded, as I've said many times. Angels are giving him a shot, and you see it reflected there. Someone else took a shot. Colin Marcano for $77. Trevino was added as a second catcher. Brandon Drury was added because J.P. Crawford's gone on the injured list. This list. Brian Falter went for $42 in this league because of the great matchups, I'm assuming, this week. Nick Senzel was a $62 ad. Nick Senzel. Trevor Larnach at 37. That's a worthwhile bid. Now, again, this is an on-base percentage league, which helps Larnach because that'll likely be his better category than batting average. And he's off to a hot start. And if you had a need in the outfield, totally comfortable with that. I picked up Fernando Cruz. I mentioned last week that picked up Colin Poche. He got hurt because that's how this goes. So I went to Fernando Cruz, who I love. Love the arm with Fernando Cruz. Jose Rojas, who's seeing time at the leadoff spot now with J.P. Crawford down. It's a split. It's a platoon scenario, but Rojas is really performing well right now. And again, hitting at the top of the order for the Mariners. So there you go. There's some exciting things. Not really. Yeah, let's go to the next page. Here is labor. Oh, that's small, folks. I apologize for that. Well, here we go. I can read it, so hopefully you can too. Joe Adell, this is a $100 league, right? So the Joe Adell went for 7, which is akin to 70 in the other league. He went to 40. What did he go for? What did he go for in Tout? Was it 40? He went for 77. So very much the same thing. Look at the failed bids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, everyone bid on Adell. I bid on Adell. Everyone bid on Adell. And everyone was in that 3 to 5 range except for the winning bid of 7. Mike Tauchman went for 5. We just talked about Tauchman previously. Bryce Elder we discussed too. He went for 5. Brian Falter went to me for $4. There was 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Everyone bid on him. I just outbid everyone. And that's because, again, I have health issues in this league. So I thought, if If I have to go Falter more than 2 starts, okay, maybe that's all right. But I wanted to get the 2 starts. And so that was probably, as you can see, it was an aggressive bid relative to the room. That's why I like $1,000 more than $100, but it was $4. So I added Brandon Falter for the reasons we discussed. Fred Zinke added Trevor Larnach. There were 5 bids on him. He got him for $3. Mitchell Parker, who we talked about, went for $3. Failed bids for Parker. Again, there's 6 failed bids for him, all $2 and $3. Simeon Richards Wood, another young pitcher, went for $3. 4 or 5 failed bids for him. Jake Irvin went for $2. Trevor McGill went for $2. That's an interesting bid because McGill could end up being the closer. We've talked about him around the show. He could end up being the closer of the Brewers. He's pitched really, really well, and it's $2. What are we at? Matt Burling was added. Jesus Sanchez, Tyler Nevin. Like, you can see all these guys there on the screen. Blake Perkins went for $1 now that he's slowed down, which is interesting. Hunter Goodman went for $1. So there you go. So this, I think the big news obviously is the guys we discussed: Elder, Tauchman, and Adele, and then Mr. Falter. Let's go to the FSGA League. Here we go again. In this league, Adele went for 10%. So we had one at 7%, one at 8%, and one at 10%. So there's where everyone was at this week. Now, again, these leagues are 5 outfielder leagues, which is probably different than a lot of you have. There's one league that has a little bit different scoring, but the other 2 were just regular 5x5. We went for $99 here in this one, and you can see all the failed bids. One of the bids was mine. It was a failed bid here too. That's okay. I wasn't super aggressive because I didn't have my outfield's actually pretty good in this league. Bryce Elder went for 88 here. It's a little bit more. Pete Crow Armstrong in this league went for 51. And this is interesting. There's only 2 failed bids in the 20s. And this is for the reasons I talked about with you all last week when PCA was promoted. It's what's the playing time going to look like? What's going to happen when Seiya Suzuki and Cody Bellinger are back? Well, when they're back, they're in the lineup. What does that do to PCA? So people were reserved with the bidding with him. Simeon Richards Wood, same thing. He went for $48. To me, it's a little aggressive, but I went 40. What did I go? 39, 42. What the heck did I do on Falter? What did I get Falter for? $4 there. Yeah, so that's that's not too bad. Let's go back and look here. Did Falter get added in this league? Yeah, Falter $42 now. So it's the same basically. 42 there, 48 here. Simeon Richards Wood. Yeah, again, do I spend that amount on him? No, but I get it. Injuries are everywhere. Trevor Larnach went for 46 with some failed bids. Again, nice power bat in a good groove to start. Matt Mervis, interestingly enough, Mervis is a fascinating guy. He's a former first baseman of the future for the Cubs. He's failed to live up to those expectations, of course. He is getting an opportunity to play now. He's promoted. What happens when Bellinger is back? What happens when Seizuka is back? And what happens with PCA? Like, what's the decision here? Mervis could get sent down again. So, and he doesn't run, and he's really a power guy. The Erik Fedde bidding, I was in on this. I was the $39 bid. I lost out. He went for $42 there. Nick Senzel also went for 40 again. I did get Falter here for 38. So again, I got Falter for 38. Simeon Woods Richardson went for 48. I didn't even bid on him. I bid on Falter because of the matchups. I'd rather have Falter, obviously. Similar price point, so it's very, apples and oranges, I guess. But I for the reasons I discussed, that's why I went with Falter. Failed bids for Falter, all of them were lower. But again, this is $1,000, so it's nothing crazy. I needed help in the middle, so I picked up Brendan Rodgers, my guy. You know this. I've had him forever. You've had him forever. You've heard me talk about him forever. Yeah. The last 2 weeks, he's played 8 games since coming back from his illness. He's hitting 290. Last week, he went 6 for 17. He's hitting 350 with 1,000 OPS last week. I needed help up the middle. And so we did it. There we go. And it wasn't an aggressive bid, 26 out of $1,000. Rojas went for 25. Josh Rojas, again, this is understandable. And Rojas is interesting because he has the speed piece that Rodgers doesn't. If you look at his performance the last 2 weeks, he's played 11 games. He scored 8 runs. He's gone deep 3 times. He's stolen a base. He's got a 938 OPS. Again, he's platooned, but he could qualify in multiple positions, and he's batting leadoff right now, which is pretty impressive when you think about him batting leadoff against right-handed batters, even though the Mariners lineup has not been as good as we anticipated to date. Mike Tauchman again for $20. Jesus Sanchez for $14. Griffin Canning, interestingly enough, $9 for him. Let's play the hot hand there and hope it works out. Ben Lively went for $8, so right in that same range. Jake Irvin for $5. Joey Meneses for 4, UT only. Meneses has been hitting a little bit better lately. But that Ben Lively one, there's an example. It's a 14-team mixed league. All these injuries, Ben Lively only went for $8. So hopefully that caution is something that you were able to follow through with in your league, and you didn't go aggressively to get Ben Lively either. Okay, let's look at some of these comments here. Let's see what we got today. We have some more comments today. I appreciate that from everybody. That's nice. Wondering the last couple of days what was wrong. Maybe everyone was just gearing up for the NFL draft or getting over the NFL draft. I don't know. Did you watch the NFL drafts, by the way? Does anyone? Or a better question. You probably watched the NFL draft. Did you watch anything after the first round or just the first round? Yeah, let me know. Bunch of mornings here. Henry Vargas, Kane, Brandon Arndt said that was a terrible impression. Thanks, Brandon, for your positivity early in the morning. Really appreciate you. You look at this. And then the next comment was, next comment was, we still love you, Ray. Here it is. But we still appreciate you, Ray. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's more like it, Brandon. Thanks for coming back through. Henry says Abreu looks awful. Yeah, Abreu does look awful. And, we talked about him over the offseason, the fact that there were all the signs there that he was slowing down. That's why he was ranked 29th at first base or whatever the hell I had him at. Like, the fact is that the bat was slowing. He looked like he was starting to guess more. The batted ball data was slipping, and it's gone fast. I mean, he's approaching 40 years of age. Like, it's not a huge shock, but yeah, he's really looked tough right now. Chris D says, what do you think of Rockies, Brenton Doyle, looking to add him for depth? Chris, I spoke about him last week. I think it was on Friday. Might have been Thursday's show. I spoke for 5 minutes about Brenton Doyle. He's someone that is not going to give this batting average the rest of the way. There are still strikeouts here that are concerning because that batting average can fall 70 points from where it is right now. He does have some power and some speed. He's playing every day. I think he's cemented himself in the lineup. The Rockies haven't really started to hit. They haven't played at Coors where the weather is 80 degrees and the ball's flying. I think that Doyle is a potential 15-25 guy. Could go 20-30 if everything broke together, but he could also hit 226. So like where he's at and that he's in the lineup every day. Power and speed, yes. Concerns about the approach are still valid. And then Kane, 8-6-36-3 Kane says, India or Julian in a vacuum. Is it a 5x5 league? Is it on-base percentage league? What kind of setting do we have there? I'm going to say, without knowing the answer to that, and Kane will probably put it in here, I'm going to say India. I really like the approach of Julian. The problem with Julian is that he's a strict platoon. And he's hit some home runs and he takes the walks, but the strikeouts are bad with him. Head-to-head, okay. Yeah, head-to-head points. I'm going India there. India had a great weekend. Both these guys have pluses and minuses. I would go with India for the reasons I mentioned. Julian's in a strict platoon. The strikeouts there are significant. And though he's had some success, he's basically been a home run or bust guy. He's been a combination of Joey Gallo and Kyle Schwarber. I was going to say Kyle Schwarber, but he's really been more Joey Gallo. Just not great. So I'd go Jonatan India. Here is something from Chaka. Who do we like for saves? Well, the rankings will be updated on what was it, Wednesday, the 1st of May, over at fantasyguru.com. The best guy for saves right now out of that group of McGill, Adams, and Neris is Neris. He's probably followed by McGill and then Adams. Adams has pitched great. He's not being used in the 9th inning, which is kind of surprising. They're using Clevenger and all these other guys. But Poche's down now. Fairbanks is down. All three of these guys are certainly in play for save opportunities. I would say that Neris, as of right now, is the best option if we're playing just the saves game. But this is why I hate the saves game. We're just guessing because we don't know for sure what any of these three teams are doing in the 9th inning. The Brewers, the Rays, or the Cubs. But that's the way I would play it right now, Chaka. And then Isbell asked, has Taylor Ward reached his expiration date? Haven't been able to trade him. He's been my UT drop for CES. Ward is who he is. Expiration date. I don't think that Taylor Ward is someone that anyone should be looking at and thinking this guy's breaking the bank. I don't think he should be looked at as a 300 hitter or a 30 home run guy. But is he going to hit 265 and play every day and go 25, 80? Okay, fine. I will say this, that CES, Christian Encarnacio Strand, had a pitch off his hand. X-rays came back negative for him. I don't know why, if we're worried about the struggles of Ward at the moment. I'm trying to pull some stuff up here. Sorry, I'm struggling this morning. I'm not doing too well this morning. I thought I was until right now. But if we're worried about, Ward struggling, I'm not really sure why we go with, Christian Encarnacion-Strand, who, the last 10 games is hitting 180 with a 31% strikeout rate. I like Strand. We've talked about him here. I think he will be better than he has been. He has shown some signs of life. But again, lots of strikeouts. I'd keep Ward if that was my choice between the two. And it also comes down to position that you need to. That's to be factored in. I know it's UT, but the positional depth should matter. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would go with Taylor Ward over Christian Encarnacion-Strand. Okay, everybody, thanks for listening today. I appreciate it. Don't forget to go to fantasyguru.com, get that baseball product, the DFS, or the wagering product. You get all the other sports but football tossed in for free. The Discord, the articles, the seasonal, the DFS, all of it for all the other sports, NBA, NHL, PGA, MMA, soccer, racing. All of that's included for free if you get the baseball the baseball wagering or the baseball DFS package. Get it right now. It's really a great thing, folks. If you want to just go nuts, and you probably should, just make sure you get the all-in VIP Platinum package. Use the promo code 50SPECIAL50 SPECIAL. Get you a 50% discount off everything. Every article, every live stream, every video, every Discord room, all of it. 50 special to become a VIP Platinum member at fantasyguru.com. We'll be back here tomorrow on the show, Fantasy Sports Daily, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Elite Sports Show with Jeff Mans is on as well today at 12 to 3 Pacific. It's 3 to 6 Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, the return of the Elite Sports Game Time Show. Myself and Justin Fensterman. We're on from 8 to 10, Monday through Thursday. We basically talk about our bets. We talk about the Core 4. We talk about the live action on the field as it's going on that show, doing a live updates as we're going. So check us out tonight on Sirius XM. Again, that's Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10 Eastern, Elite Sports Game Time. Thanks for listening today, folks. Tell a friend. Hope you enjoyed what we did here. If you did, go to fantasyguru.com, click the subscribe tab at the top. Add one of our products. You won't be disappointed. I can pretty much guarantee that. I'm not going to sit here and be Mattress Mac or whatever and say I guarantee things with my bets and all that and you get a free bet or anything. But I think you'll enjoy it if you become a member over fantasyguru.com. So I encourage you to do just that. I'm Ray Flowers. Follow me everywhere at the Ray Flowers and follow me at fantasyguru.com, of course. This has been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by that aforementioned company, fantasyguru.com. Talk to you tomorrow.